Market guest Shashi Krishnan, CIO of Birla Sun Life Insurance, now joins us. Shashi, hi, good morning. Good to have you on the show. Now, your fraternity is really keeping the market alive. You've been investing a lot. Do you believe that, the retail confidence in the market is still there, has not been shaken with the kind of correction that we have seen? And as such, the kind of domestic participation that we have seen in this market, is this going to continue?
Yes, I think the domestic participation will continue in this market. Both mutual fund and insurance retail investors have been coming back very strongly into both the mutual fund products and the ULIP products. And I think people do understand that macro stability seems to have returned, and I think the next thrust is going to be growth. And I think there is a clear understanding that the last 1.5 years, in spite of the fact that many people seem to be disappointed that the reform process was slow and stuff like that, has brought in a lot of macro stability. So if you look at the fiscal front, for example, I think we are clearly improved on the credibility side. Fiscal deficit at 3.8%, increasing non-tax revenues, lower subsidies, all that's making a very big difference on the fiscal front. If you look at industrial production, I think we've been, sustained 4% higher industrial production growth over the last couple of months. Almost 70% of the stuck 25 lakh crore projects, sort of reviving. If you look at the monetary front, I think sustained lower inflation is leading to expectations that interest rates will fall. So I think on the macro stability front, a lot of things have been done and I think achieved. And now I think most investors expect that growth will start returning, and as growth returns, they will start making money out of asset markets. And I think that's one of the, sort of key themes that is working on the minds of the retail investor.
Okay. So, Mr. Krishnan, that brings me to the thought that what exactly are the FIIs going to be doing here on? Say, for example, do you think that they would continue selling? Is there enough conviction for them to continue selling in terms of the global setup, the fear that came in for global growth from what the Fed said as well? And if in case they do, the DIIs have enough to sort of lap up that second round of selling that we might see?
Yeah, I think you have to realize that there has been a risk-off trade, and I think that's one of the big worries that people have, that the risk-off trade may continue over the next couple of months. And I think this risk-off trade will continue because of two reasons. One is that we don't know whether there are going to be further surprises from China in terms of how the economy is behaving and how Chinese growth will sort of work out over the next couple of months. And two, obviously, when the Fed lifts off, there will be some money that's going out because there will be a flight to safety at that point of time. I think these are two big risks that we would find from overseas investors, foreign investment institutions. But having said that, as I told you, given the fact that there are very few places in the world where this macro stability is there and growth is coming back, I don't think this is going to be something that's going to continue for a very, very long time. This will be something which may continue for a couple of months, and then money will start coming back. In the meanwhile, I think the retail investor has found that he will be making money if he invests, for example, in equity. If you look at long-term 25-year inflation-adjusted returns that equity has given, it's something like around 17.5%. Long-term inflation-adjusted returns in gold is just around 4%. When people have begun to realize that if you're willing to stay long-term in equity markets, you will make money, and therefore the retail investor has begun to come back. I think mutual funds have collected something, if I'm not mistaken, something like 18,000 crores in this current year, in their funds. And the same phenomena is repeating in the insurance funds also. And therefore, I think, any outflow from overseas investors will get balanced by retail investors putting money back.
Okay. But what about the leadership for this market, Shashi? Because, clearly banks have given up that mantle. And IT and pharma can only support the market to a certain extent. Where do you think the next trigger for the market would come from? What sector do you think can take the market back to all-time highs? Do you think it will be banks again, or will the market need to find some other leadership?
So I think, if you're looking at cues which we as institutional investors are looking at, I think it's going to be a combination of both bottom-up as well as some of these key themes that will play out. And the way we look at it, as you rightly said, IT will be clearly one space we will look at, not merely because we do expect that there will be some devaluation of the rupee. That's bound to happen because there's going to be competitive devaluation across the world, and if you need to be a part of that global trade, you have to devalue. And therefore, IT will have some leadership, and I think we will obviously be looking at investing out there. But it's also the fact that if you look at services growth in the US and Europe, that's picking up quite strongly, and that's good news for IT. And a lot of the, let us say, margin breakers, like, wage increases and stuff like that for the IT industry is already behind us. The second space, I think, is the fact that the revival of the investment cycle, which is, in my opinion, clearly there and quite strong, is a theme that we would like to play. And it may not merely be banking. I mean, whereas banking will obviously, some of the big banks will clearly be there. It will also be, some of the, capital goods companies. It will be sectors like, for example, cement. Because the government is going to spend 2.5 lakh crores in the infrastructure sector. Irrespective of whether the real estate sector picks up or not, I think cement will be a big gainer. So that will be another, I think, theme that will lead the market. And lastly, some of these utilities, which are broadly bond proxies, will do well as interest rates come down. And that, I think, is another, in my opinion, leader which we would like to look at. Bond proxies that will lead this rally because interest rates come down.
Okay, so bond proxy would also be the banking space.
Yeah, to some extent the banking space also, yes.
Okay, but how are you placed on the banking space? Do you think that we are underestimating the threat that we might see from incremental gross NPLs? We've been talking about Amtech and covering that news. We have the fear of what might emerge from the steel sector, and that's even prominent in the likes of Tata Steel that sold stake in Tata Motors as well as Titan recently. Are you fearing gross NPLs in the banking space, higher competition because of the likes of payment banks and small banks cropping up as well?
Yeah, so two things. One is clearly the worries about the non-performing and stress book is not behind us. Because a lot of what we saw was basically in the large accounts. I think you will also see a lot of the medium and small accounts also getting under stress. And that has to get behind us. But I think a large part of the pain is already there in the price. And therefore, I mean, what we will see over the next couple of quarters, I think will be only incremental. So, whereas we will watch that very carefully, I don't think it makes us very, very worried. Secondly, in terms of competition from small banks, payment banks, at the end of the day, a universal bank is a universal bank. The payment banks will take some time to get a larger part of that space, and therefore I don't see that as an immediate threat. And I would see banking industry itself sort of adapting to these changes, doing a lot more innovative sort of things around transactions, digital and stuff like that over the next couple of weeks. So whereas I take exposure to the banking space, I'll take very selective exposure to the banking space.
What about metals? We have seen a bit of a bounce back from the lows. Is this now offering a good risk-reward ratio?
I mean, at this point of time, we have taken marginal exposure to some metal stocks, but I still think the pain is not behind us because global commodity prices are still under pressure. And if you ask me, lower Chinese growth would mean that commodities will still take some time to sort of completely recover. So we wouldn't see that as a market leader in the next rally that we see in the equity markets.
Okay. I just have one quick last question. I know you can't talk stocks, but I just wanted your thoughts on what's happening with the Amtech group. And we understand that they've managed to not repay or fulfill their repayments which were due on Sunday. Your thoughts?
No, I think, any kind of credit crisis in the market is obviously, a worry because we as insurance funds obviously manage a large part of our money in the bond markets. But I think it's also an opportunity because the spreads that we saw between government bonds and corporate bonds had dropped down to something like, 40 basis points, making the trade extremely unattractive. Now, as people realize that, there is risk in corporate bonds, I think that spread will increase. And so long as you're in good credits and you see an increase in spread, I see a big opportunity for us to move up our yields on many of our bond portfolios. Okay. So I see it as an opportunity at this point of time rather than getting too worried about it.
Okay. All right, Mr. Krishnan, we leave it on that note. Thank you very much for joining in and talking to us. Well, time for a break now, but we'll get speaking to our first